Welcome to the November 20th Fishers City Council meeting. We have no announcements or proclamation. We do have a presentation with a Fishers Police Department Service Award. Chief?
Thank you, Council and Mayor, for allowing us to recognize one of our officers, 20 years of service, Major James. Can you come forward? Major James is here with Carol and his daughters here at the back of the room supporting him. You ready? Official roasting. No, 23 years of law enforcement, 20 of them here in Fishers. And when I thought about this today, I thought about what kind of encapsulates his 20 years of service, and to me, it's truth. And so, in order to define that, like, Mike has always been a very honest person with me through those 20 years of knowing him. He's always put the agency, the community, and the profession first, and his decision-making always exemplified that. And you listen to people with this kind of resume. So Mike came to work with us in 2003 as a patrolman. Mike was our first certified paramedic police officer, and he still continues that today. Mike is an instructor of our department, CPR, first aid, and other leadership topics. Mike also was a field training officer for our department for several years, grooming our new officers that came up the rank and file. In 2007, he took his first post as a sergeant of shift, and in 2014, he became a lieutenant of an entire watch where he led for several years. He went off to the National Academy and learned about command leadership, came back, and helped us create our professional standards for internal affairs, bringing equity to the complaints in our department, and he's done a great job at that. Also, he has been instrumental in our dive team. He's a dive member, helping to build the team as a team leader, and then ultimately commanding that team, and he still does that today. And Mike teaches dive across the nation, and with that brings the reputation of the Fishers City and police to those departments that he reaches out and teaches for. In all of that, we thought that he was overdue for a promotion to Major of Support in the police department. So in 2022, we promoted him to be a major, where he leads a division that has our civilian staff, background hire, recruitment, public information, our SROs, and our traffic unit. And just when you think that's enough for his resume, he's won 3 distinguished medals during his career, and he's won 2 life-saving medals in his career as well. So round of applause for Mike and his 20
Mike, thank you for your service to our community, and also thank your family. You're all here tonight, and thank you very much for being a part of our community, and not only appreciate your service, but also your friendship. Thank you. Moving on to committee reports.
John, before we move on, if I may.
Sure.
We had an exciting week this week for Fishers High School Band. Momentous occasion to go represent our community in the Macy's Day Parade. And this is a topic near and dear to Councilmember Zimmerman, who has one of his own kids, who's now in New York.
He's in there right. He's there right now.
So do you want to just maybe give the council an update and kind of what's on the agenda for those kids in this kind of once in a lifetime opportunity?
Yes, there's a 30-page agenda I brought. There actually is. That is very loud up here. I don't know. Feedback. You want me to turn it off? Because I'm a loud guy. Okay. So they've been working on. They found out about a year and a half ago they were going to go. The announcement was made. It was just really exciting for our family personally, because my wife marched for Carmel High School back in '91 and won state with them, and so it was very, very exciting to hear that. But also being his senior year this year, it's exciting for our family, but more importantly for the community. 297 members are out there right now in New York. They went to the Statue of Liberty today. So I'm getting pictures. Ashley, I'm getting tons of pictures, so we're ready to go, okay? They're eating at Iguana Restaurant at Macy's. I'm not familiar with that, but tonight, right now, but they've been touring Manhattan, and they went to the World Trade Center Memorial today. So they have a lot of sightseeing to do, but more importantly, they're going to represent our city Thursday morning in the parade. So I will have more information soon. I'm flying out Wednesday with the rest of the family Wednesday morning, so we'll find out exactly where during the broadcast they will be on national TV, but I'm just excited that they're going to be representing our community. They
Well, our
worked
thoughts and-
very, very hard for this.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to the parents chaperoning.
Yes. I'm on a parent group chat right now, so yeah.
And Tom, I also add, didn't they do extremely well in their competition?
Yes, yes. So they used to, that band, the marching band, used to not really place well in the state and wouldn't even make the nationals and the finalists for nationals. And the last 2 years, last year was the first time they ever made in the top last finalist round for the grand national competition, which was incredible. I believe we placed third place in the state. Avon and Carmel are almost impossible to beat, just so people understand that. It's like almost another level. But then this year they did the same thing as well, did a fantastic job, worked so hard. The coaches for the other sports will say to me, they work harder than any other sport there is out there. You'll hear them starting in June or July roughly. It's that 100-degree heat. They're out there the entire day. And then when they did the Grand Nationals, they were starting at 7 a.m. practicing. They were performing at 9:30 p.m. that night. And there was even a couple of kids in some of the bands that passed out during the finals were in Lucas Oil because they put so much into this. So yes, they work really hard and they represent our community well. So just thoughts and prayers for them and for all of us as traveling, safety for them. Unfortunately, in Ohio, they had a marching band members pass away in an auto accident. So it was their bus going, and during their competitions in Ohio, this just happened last week. So we were kind of edgy, and as the world is right now, and going to New York City, it's not the not the safest thing in the world. So we just appreciate all those thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you for the information, Todd, and
Yep.
congratulations to them. Moving on to committee reports, the Finance Committee did not meet last week. The Department of Health Department is attached. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion by Pete. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Cecilia. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Moving on to, thank you, Selena. Moving on to our regular agenda, budget financial, item 8100923A.
For the record, Lisa Bradford, City Controller. The item before you is the second reading for the bonds for the District South project. This is the same ordinance you saw last month, no changes to it. As a reminder, it's part of the project agreement with Rebar Development for the District South. It includes the issuance of bonds up to $12 million.
Any questions for Lisa? Can I have a second reading?
Well, we can adopt. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Pete, second by Todd. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Selena's an aye. Moving on to item 9.
Item 9 before you is the one-year general obligation bond. This is very similar to the item you saw last month with one small modification. It has been enhanced to add some additional projects if need be. There was some discussion as to timing of road projects, and so the bond description was expanded, but the parameters of the bond are still the same, and the road projects are still planned to be the same.
Okay. Chris, we do not have to suspend the rules on this vote, correct? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion by Pete, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Cecilia. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Selena's an aye as well. Moving on to item 10, R 112023A, request to approve an amendment to our project agreement for Union Crossing.
Hello, for
mixed-use development that you can see on the screen to the south of the yard. So that is mixed-use development, hotel, multifamily project, and as part of that agreement, if you'll recall, there were excess TIF was allowed to be captured from the yard development. And so now with the crossing coming online and the event center nearing its completion next year, we wanted to be able to incorporate both of those projects into the same agreement. So this agreement is now the same for the union. We're just expanding the allocation area down to the crossing, which also includes another mixed-use development and approximately 20,000 square feet of new retail space. In the documents, you'll see that there's a couple of outlots that it talks about. And so the mixed-use development of the crossing will be able to be captured. That's a $60 to $80 million development. That will have its own TIF, but then the increment from the outlots, that will be able to go towards the union as needed for any potential shortfalls. So tonight, Ashley Boyd from Thompson Thrift is here to be able to share a little bit with you about why this part of the crossing and the union project is so important for their overall development. Ashley?
Thanks, Megan. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. Megan had asked that I could just give a little bit of an overview of the project. As many of you are familiar with Fishers District, the union is an expansion of Fishers District, and that original vision that it eventually extended to the east to encompass the stations, and now has the opportunity to extend further south to pick up the crossing as well, to really develop a cohesive, walkable, pedestrian-friendly entertainment district that we believe is going to add just another element and continue the exciting growth in this corridor with IKEA, and the event center, Top Golf. And so what we are hoping to do is just add another element that we believe will be a great asset for the community. Will encompass multifamily, retail, office, hospitality, add more exciting restaurants and some entertainment venues, adjacent to Chicken and Pickle, who's also going to be located down in the crossing. So really just an exciting extension of Fishers District, and we truly believe that when complete, it's going to be a dynamic environment for the Fishers community.
Hey, sorry, we have a problem. So I'm hearing from people, they can't hear the speaker online, but they can hear us online. Just so we're aware. Yep.
I think one thing maybe just to add some color to this, in case some of you might be thinking, well, we already approved this, and that is true. You already approved this economic development agreement some time ago. But when we approved that economic development agreement, there was concepts but not specific projects on some of these. So now that we have a little more refinement, for instance, we know where Chicken and Pickle's going. We know roughly where another hotel pad will go. We know where there'll be a restaurant or office outlot. So this allows us to refine this economic development agreement more specifically to these projects, whereas a year ago we were still working very much from a concept plan. So just to give kind of a high level as to why we're back here having this conversation tonight.
Thank you, Scott. Any questions for Ashley or Megan? If not, have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion by Pete. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Todd. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
So it is an aye as well. Moving on to item 11, 112023, a request to approve an amendment to chapter 35.3 of the City of Fishers Code of Ordinances, fee schedule.
Good evening, Council. Lindsay Bennett, City Attorney. Front of me tonight is a request to amend our fee schedule for the police department video recordings. The police department recently did a look at what they're charging to copy videos for people who request them. They looked at other communities. They also looked at what their own labor costs and determined that the appropriate cost is 50 cents per minute for each video for their review, and then 75 cents per minute for an attorney review, up to $150 on both of those, as is allowable under Indiana code. So this ordinance just codifies that change.
Any questions for Lindsay?
Is this on?
Yeah,
on.
it's
Oh,
on.
It's on.
Lindsay, I was just wondering, how many requests do they get a year, or do you know, are they getting
I don't know.
quite a bit, or?
I think they do receive quite a few for their body cams and dash cams anytime there's, maybe an arrest that somebody wants to review.
It's a significant number. You can imagine not only arrests, but car accidents, civil litigation that people might enter into. There's a significant body of work that goes into addressing these, redacting personal information, all that. So it's, ever since body cams came onto the scene, they're great for transparency purposes, but there's also just a lot of work that goes into making sure that we can release them. So for instance, if someone requests those videos, if there's a small child in the video, or if there's personal information in someone's, someone has to go through that and redact anything that shouldn't be given out to the general public. So it's a significant amount of work, and I think it's appropriate that we update our fees to represent that.
And again, the max is specified by Indiana code, so we're exactly there, and I looked at other municipalities that are doing exactly this.
Yes.
Thanks.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Pete. Do I have a second?
Second. Go ahead.
Second by Cecilia. All those in favor,
Hey, John,
please
this is,
say aye.
John, sorry to
Yes.
cut you off. This is a first reading, right?
Yes.
Could you,
Thank you.
if you're gonna approve it, would you suspend the rules and approve it?
This is first reading?
Doesn't say first.
Doesn't say first reading.
On the,
It
Is
is
it?
first
It's an
reading.
ordinance amendment, so it's a first
Motion
reading.
to suspend the rules and approve on first
Yes.
reading.
I'll second it. All's in favor, on a motion to suspend the rules and pass on first reading, say aye.
Aye.
Selena?
Aye.
Okay.
Now I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Pete. Do I have a second? Second by Cecilia. All's in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Cecilia, Selena?
She said it.
Aye.
She said aye.
All right. It's passed. Moving on to item 12, a request to approve an interlocal agreement with the Indiana Department of Transportation for drainage and erosion control.
Thank you. Lindsay Bennett, City Attorney. This is a resolution for an interlocal for the city and NDOT for some grading work that needs to occur along I-69. There's two locations. There's a northern location that's located in the grass strip between 69 and USA Parkway on the southern property line of IKEA, and there's another location located in the grass strip between I-69 and USA Parkway, just north of the Kincaid House. It will be essentially some erosion control that the state and the city will join and share costs, and the city will be in charge of the contract essentially, and NDOT will contribute funds not to exceed $55,200. The total project cost is estimated to be $110,000, so essentially half.
Any questions for Lindsay?
This a first reading, Chris?
That's a resolution.
I have a motion by Pete to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Todd. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Moving on to item 13, Planning and Zoning, 091823A, consideration of a text amendment to the Cove at Thorpe Creek PUD.
Quick technical interjection, we're not seeing this PC on the stream.
Good evening. For the record, Ross Hillary, Planning and Zoning Director for the City of Fishers. Before you, as you mentioned, Chair, is item 13, Ordinance 091823A. This is a text amendment for the Cove at Thorpe Creek. They are requesting an allowance for a maximum height of 40 foot for homes in the Grand Estate area, which is shown in green, adding the Masterpiece Collection homes to the designer district shown in yellow, and updating the concept plan specifically in the area in blue. This item came before council in September. It went before PUD Committee and Plan Commission on November 1st. The PUD committee did approve the architectural elevations, and advisory plan commission sends a favorable recommendation to council. Staff is happy to answer any questions on this. The petitioner, Amanda Deerdorf with Fisher Homes, as well as Mindy Westrick Brown, are also here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ross. Any questions for Ross or petitioner?
These are all upgrades to the homes, guys, just to FYI. It's not a downgrade whatsoever. I mean, they're putting in nicer homes than what they originally kind of slotted in for that group, just because they've been getting a lot of market demand. So that's why it was unanimous in both cases, the PUD and Planning Commission.
Thank you, Pete.
So there's an increase of 5 feet taller. Am I reading that right?
Correct. In the area that's in green, this area specifically. Some of their heights of their homes got a little bit taller, so.
And staff had no recommendation. Did you have any concerns or?
No concerns, just no recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Motion approved.
I have a motion by Pete. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Cecilia. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Moving on to item 14, 112023A, consideration of a rezone of 25 acres from R2 residential OS open space known as the Fishers Community Center.
Yes, thank you. For the record, Ross Hillary, City of Fishers. This item before you is the first reading of rezone request for the Fishers Community Center. This is 25 acres, currently zoned RT residential. Staff is requesting it as rezoned open space. This is consistent with any other city-owned property that is used for recreation. You guys last saw the Geist Waterfront Park rezoned in March of this year. Staff does plan to take this before Plan Commission in December, and then we expect to be back here on December 20th. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ross? Do I have first reading? Todd's the first. We have had first reading. Thank you. Moving on to item 15, 112023B.
Yes, this is first reading for the rezone request of the Drive Planning PUD. This is a rezone of 0.88 acres from RT residential to PUDC, known as Drive Planning. The property is currently zoned RT residential and is a vacant single-family home. Drive Planning is proposing a PUD ordinance with C1 commercial as the base zoning, including additional limitations on the property, including limited hours of operation. It is limited to a single tenant, and the PUD also has limitations on the building to be 4,500 square foot as a footprint with 1,000 square foot for a loft area. The PUD ordinance also includes architectural renderings shown here with height limitations of 24 feet. Any existing hardwood and deciduous trees will be preserved to the greatest extent. There is a November 27th neighborhood meeting that will be virtual, coordinated through Fager Drinker. And the schedule currently includes this reading tonight, going before PUD and Plan Commission in December, and then back to City Council in December as well. Mindy Westrick Brown of Fager Drinker, on behalf of the petitioner, does have a few items she'd like to address.
Thank you, Ross.
Good evening, Council and the Mayor. Thanks for the opportunity to present. This has been a process, and with me here tonight is Mark Leach, a land use planner from my office at Fagery Drinker, as well as Jerry Lindarucci, representing Drive Planning, and Jason Schnur with DI Build as well. If you have any questions for us tonight, we are happy to address them as a team. Ross always does a nice job with his presentation, so leaves not a lot for me to walk through, but I do want to talk about the process a little bit and cover a few additional items that we've been working with the neighbors on, as we feel like that is very important for this lot on 116th Street. So we were engaged late this summer. This parcel did have kind of a life before us, and we picked up late this summer, met pretty quickly with the neighbors to go over some of their requests, and are happy to say that we were able to, I believe, incorporate almost all of those that's represented in the PUD. We then were able to do a tree study and do a site visit with the neighbors as well to walk them through, stake the property, and show them exactly kind of what we were envisioning and how that would look like. We've also had a chance to update additional renderings so that they can see the vision, and look forward to having that virtual meeting that Ross mentioned next Monday before PUD and Plan Commission. Some of the items, I won't repeat the ones that Ross mentioned, although I do think that they're all important. We looked at the neighboring PUD, the dental office, and know that consistency is important here, and so we were able to make changes that are similar and mirror that PUD. It will have a right in, right out. We know that's important to the neighbors, and we're able to move the driveway so that it curves to try to preserve as many trees. Maximum parking spaces will be 24. The building will actually be turned, so the front is facing east and the parking lot aligns with the dental office next door. There's a sign that will be a ground sign or a monument sign. That was a request from the neighbors. Lighting to be minimal. That was an important request from the neighbors as well. Obviously, a residential appearance with a pitched roof, and went through a number of different renderings to try to come up with a vision that both Drive Planning was pleased to have as their new home, and as well as the neighbors were comfortable seeing. So we look forward to additional feedback, but have made a number of changes, and it's been a process, and we look forward to seeing it through, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mindy or Ross?
I have a quick question. So why was the entrance then moved to face the east? I mean.
So, the neighbors did not want to see a parking lot along 116th Street. They wanted a residential feel to this commercial space, and so when you move the facade of the frontage to the east, those parking lots of the more buried dental office and this parking lot are side by side there, and then you don't have the parking lot across 116th Street. And there are a number of trees again along 116th Street as well. Those neighbors to the south of 116th Street have grown accustomed to a certain view that they see, and so we were able to take that drive, pull it a little bit to the east, try to preserve as many trees, and then as they exit their drive, they will see a residential style building there, and they will just see the side of it and not the front of it, and not a parking lot.
Other questions?
So the entrance could not be placed facing south with the parking lot staying where it is right now, where you're showing it? It wasn't.
That would be unacceptable to the neighbors across the street.
You were talking about to the south though, like closer to the Kroger there.
That would be to the north.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes.
I'm saying, place the entrance facing 116th Street, and leaving the parking lot to the side.
Yeah,
the
neighbors prefer the east entrance.
It's
pushed
highly
back.
negotiated.
I understand. Everybody else has front view, like the buildings all face 116th Street, right? And so this one will be, the entrance will be facing east.
Yeah, it was important. It was important to try to have as much green space in between the parking lot, and so we've incorporated those comments as well. We've pushed the entrance to the, thank you, Pete, for the northern side of the building there. And so, yeah, that was just something that was requested. And I think based on the initial feedback that we have through the 3 or 4 conversations that we've had, they they prefer this.
I will say that the PUD process and our very high quality architectural standards, the facade that's facing 1/16th will still be high quality, so it won't look like the side of a building. We'll make sure that it has four-sided architecture as required.
So it won't look awkward, given what the rest of the other buildings?
I don't believe so.
adjacent
We
to-
won't
Okay.
make sure a building looks awkward, so we'll do our best.
Isn't this parking lot next to the parking lot for the dental office, right next door to each other? Am I correct?
Correct.
So, okay, just trying to kind of visualize both those buildings together, how they look, so thank you.
Yeah, and as you can imagine, the renderings aren't always perfect. There are when we visited the property, and as you can see as you drive by, there are a number of trees there, and the building sits towards the middle of the property.
Okay, that helps, thank you. Other questions?
Well, and I appreciate you working with the neighbors and everybody there to make something that's satisfactory to all parties. So that's good.
Have first reading.
We've had first reading, thank you. Moving on to Fishers Community Center annexation, item 16, R 112023C. Request approval resolution adopting a fiscal plan for the Fishers Community Center.
Quick one for you. Item 16 and 17 are the same. Fishers Community Center annexation. Item 16 is a request to approve the fiscal plan, and item 17 is a request for final reading for the annexation of the 25 acres mentioned earlier. Happy to answer any questions.
Motion to approve item 16.
I have a motion approved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Todd. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Make a motion to approve item 17.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve item 17. I have a second by Todd. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Moving on to there's no unfinished or new business. Community comment. Anybody wishing to come forward? Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Skylar Braun, 12011 Jesterwood Drive. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. So I run a small local newsletter called Fishers Digest. It's just bite-sized info for the community. It's more focused for millennials and Gen Z, but it's for everyone, and a lot of the community is involved in it. There's a few thousand people subscribe to it. And the reason I'm speaking here today is a few weeks ago, I asked the community a poll. I asked polls throughout these newsletters. What do they think of trash in Fishers? And it was pretty overwhelming. I mean, typically we get 50 to 60 responses on these things. This one got 220. There were 60 full-length responses, some multiple paragraphs from people. And I figured I would share just a little bit about what was shared with me to the council and the city, just to get your thoughts on it. So out of the 220 respondents, 89% said they did want city-managed trash. 11% said no. Again, I mentioned 60 people left very long-form feedback. The most common yes was they were tired of trash being missed. It's funny, my neighbor's trash was just missed again. She texted me, she said, hey, I think your car was a little bit too close to our driveway. They didn't get it picked up. Might have been on me, but it happens all the time in our neighborhood. That was pretty much the most common yes argument. The common no is probably exactly what you expect. You know, it's a free market. Competition is a good thing. Although I think, you know, for the majority of people, there's really only two options. I don't know if there's more than that. And just again, my gut feeling on this when Ray's was acquired by Waste Management over 8 years ago, you just okay, you like growing pains. You know, it's a brand new kind of operation. They're inheriting new trucks, new routes. It's, you know, all new to them. But here we are a little over a year later, and I don't think much has changed for the majority of residents that are at least using Waste Management. I can't speak to Republic, but again, there was a lot of people who responded who used them as well. So again, I don't have an agenda other than to just hopefully help the city in making informed decisions about this. From what I understand, there was talk of this a very long time ago. I don't know if that's being talked again today, but you know, I'm just curious if there's any takes from the city on this today.
Just thank you for that. And there is interest in bringing this forward to council for discussion planning in the January timeframe to probably bring this forward. Jordan Alexander, she's working on a presentation to bring forward, just to explain to you guys how it would work. So there's a process we would have to go through, kind of just to explore it. So there'll be some education before any kind of decisions are made, and we hope to bring that forward in the first quarter of next year. So I appreciate you highlighting this, and certainly something I talked to an HOA president that called me the other day, and the renewal for their trash went up 45%. So it's just, yeah, so.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Anybody else wishing to come forward?
Perfect timing.
That rain?
That's right.
If no one wishes to come forward, I'll close the community comment section. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have a great Thanksgiving. We're adjourned.
All right.